So we got a nice crack right here in the frame of the trailer. What's up, YouTube? It's Meltin Metal Anthony, and I'm down by the lake today doing a cool little repair for one of my clients here in town. So what we got going on is the dude's dad built this floating ramp a few years ago. I think it's floating. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And it's on wheels. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and fix the axle, I think is what the issue is. So that way he can roll this thing off, get ready for the season, so him and his kids can enjoy the lake. Beautiful job site today, but it is a little rainy, it's a little cold. It's about 49 degrees here in April, but is what it is. We're gonna get her done. All right, so there's our issue. You can see that split apart, that bracket. So what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna get in there with a needle scaler and just kind of needle scale around, see what kind of material we have left, and then probably sleeve over, if anything, if it's too thin or what have you. All right, so I've heard mixed reviews on whether you should or you shouldn't oil your air tools. This one says oil daily. So I'm not oil it, okay guys? Tell me the reason below that you do or don't oil your air tools. I've always been told a little dab will do ya. What this really needs is the axle replaced and these supports replaced. But we don't have Steeler time for that. We're gonna get it so that he can get it in and out of the river for maybe 1 or 2 more seasons. And suggest that we do a little bit more of a deeper dive into this repair at a later date. Yeah, not a good sign when you can pull it with your hand, huh? Ooh. Well, we just found something. So we got a nice crack right here in the frame of the trailer. They must have got hung up on something and really jerked on this thing for it to break like that. So that's why this is movable. So what we'll probably do is pull this over with a ratchet strap, probably to the body, or maybe up the hook up to this or something. And we'll get it back in place, plate it, weld it. Like I said, we're just doing kind of a temporary deal. We'll cut this out, probably just a grinder. I don't think I'm gonna air arc gouge it. That's a little overkill. And we'll weld this crack out. And yeah, I think that'll get them back in business here. Yeah, I'm gonna suggest a new axle on this trailer. But you know, with repairs like this, you know, all you can do is make a suggestion. The compressor won't pump up for some reason. All right, guys, so I showed you the crack we have up here. I'm gonna plunge cut that, and then I'm gonna run my grinder into it. I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna plate it, and I'm gonna put it back into. And then after this is securely welded, then I'm gonna go ahead and weld this up. And the reason I'm welding this first is because when I push this over, it's gonna realign this crack. It's slightly off, it's only about 1/8 off. So it's not major, but it should help to realign it when this gets pushed over. So yeah, hopefully this lasts a little while for them. I'm gonna go get a flap disc. This is gonna be too aggressive now that I see this frame is made out of 1/8 inch. So we've got it prepped basically as good as it's gonna get, because this stuff is just really, really pitted. And then up here, we've got this crack prepped out, and that came out a lot nicer because it's not as pitted. So yeah, we're just gonna do what we can. You know, it's not rocket science, it's just a dock, it floats. So this is really just to get it in and out of the water. All All right, so you guys know I'm not a fan of fish plates, but in this instance, it's necessary, you know, unless we had a whole new piece of channel here, or I-beam, I mean. So what I'm gonna do is I need to find this angle, because I'm gonna fish plate in here with some flat bar, and I just need to find this angle. So I'm just gonna use this guy here, put it like that. You gotta be careful though, because this thing's so rotten, it's not exactly square. So that's looking like it's it right there. So just grab it so it doesn't twist on us, tighten it down, and now we know what angle we have to cut our steel at. It's going to be this right there. So I'm just going to do my layout real quick. We know the angle is in up here because we put this up against our spot there. So that's how the steel is going to go. Let's see if we got lucky and we can use this. No, this point is too sharp. So what I'm going to do is to save metal. I'm gonna move it in to right there. We're gonna strike a line. Let's find a piece of soapstone or chalk or whatever the fuck you wanna call it. I'm just gonna strike our line right there. And that's gonna take care of us for both sides because we'll just flip this thing to make sure that it's correct. Okay. So. All right. Now I'm just going to split this down the middle. I'm going to keep it simple. There's no sense in overcomplicating this situation. This is almost 5 inches. It's like 4 and some change. I gotta go this side. So it is 4. So 4 and 7/8. So half of 4 and 7/8 is 7/16. So 2 and 7/16 is what we need. So I'm going to make my little deal here go to 2 and 7/16. I think that's the center, and here we can check by just simply flipping it over. Yeah, that's it. It's right on the line though. I might not have this on, it's kind of hard to see the numbers. Yeah, that's it there. We only need 7 and some odd inches of this, really. Actually, it's up to me, whatever we want. It doesn't really matter. Keep it simple. No reason to make it complicated. What we can do to ensure they're the same size, just cut it at an angle on this side. Doesn't matter. Then that way they're reversible, flippable. I'm gonna do it with my tape measure. So I wanted about 7 inches-ish. 8 inches is fine. And this should be 8 up here too because it's the same angle. So again, we'll strike a line. And now we have our center line. So we'll take this little speed square. How many squares can I pull out in a day, huh? And we'll set it down on our line. Look at that. And we have our 2 patch pieces all laid out. I'm gonna cut these out and we'll go install them. All right, so we've got it all locked down in our Kanka forged vise. This thing's badass. I reached out to these guys and they made a vise to my specifications. I love this thing. We're gonna have a little sip of coffee, then we're gonna cut this bad boy out. Let's see if these fit. Oh yeah. A little bit too big. That's what I was afraid of. But that's okay. I measured 2 1/4. I don't know, I must have been off a little. Kind of a weird spot. But you could just leave these in the flange like that. But I don't know what's better, because then it would drain water off, but I'd have less weld. The angle's correct, so that's fucking good. About getting flush in there. All right, she's fit up pretty good. She's about where she's supposed to be. Like I said, we're just doing a temporary repair here so he can get me an axle and some undercarriage, and we'll get it taken care of. Let's go get my tiny flux core welder and weld this out. So, I've been testing this little you see the size of this it's tiny. Weighs less than 10 pounds, which I love, because you know I hate lifting heavy shit. So, it's a 130 amp welder, and I think it works pretty good. So, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna weld it up using this. It's the perfect little application for it. We'll see how she does. You can see the conditions have not improved. There's the mountain range, can't hardly see the beach. Beautiful day though, otherwise. All right, let's get back underneath here, weld this up. We've got that all ready to go. And now we're gonna go ahead and weld this crack. We're gonna start there, because that's about where it needs to be. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna start over here. And the reason is because I want to make sure it stays where I want it, and it kind of keeps that crack a little bit more closed. So we got the little plugged in, turn her on. Runs great off the engine drive too, which is unusual for inverter. I think about 90 amps is going to be sufficient. 88, yeah, whatever, 91's fine, doesn't really matter. All right, that don't look hot enough, so I'm gonna bump it up to 102, I guess. Barely see. Fog this welding helmet because of the rain. God, this is what I hate about MIG welders. The fucking 37 cords are surrounding me constantly. Definitely not the best weld I ever did. It's not too bad, but I need more amperage. I'm gonna go 115. There we go, we're starting to get a good weld. And now, you know, because of what this is, I'm not gonna bother to grind out some of these welds I don't really like. There's no point, okay? You know, that's why some of you guys will never make it in business, is because you don't know when to stop. Which, I mean, is what it is. I mean, I'll hit it with a wire wheel and I'll put a second pass over some of this shit, but I'm not gonna go 8. There's no reason. Much better, we're getting there. You gotta get the settings tuned in, and you know, it's hard to do, you know, when you're dealing with rusty shit, because I don't know what the is going on inside the metal. You know, I gotta be honest, I think stick is probably a better process for this portion. So I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna come back with a wire wheel, and I'm gonna run stick over this. It's just too dirty, too nasty for flux core. But I am, because this is clean up here, I'm gonna weld this up here with flux core. All right, so we're gonna weld this crack up using the flux core though. 120 amps. It's probably actually more like 90 is what it feels like, but whatever. I mean, it works good. I ain't mad at it. Came out pretty good. I ain't mad at that. We'll wire wheel it and check it out in a minute. What's going on? There must be some shit inside of this tube giving me a now on the overhead. Yeah, there's a bunch of nasty shit inside that tube, it must be. So we'll probably have to stick that too. But I mean, we got a pretty clean uphill weld there. I'm not mad at that. We got some clean uphill welds on this too, even though despite the rust, but there is, you know, we got limitations with flux core. Unlike stick, and that's why I stick weld most things. It's because it saves you time in the long run, not having to troubleshoot like you do at MIG. Yeah, it's just running like on this side. I don't know why, but it is. Yeah, there's just a lot of contamination. Flux core is not the process for this job. I was kind of hoping it would work, but I think we're gonna whip out some Tartan B and And we'll wire wheel this. I'm gonna burn right over the wells that existed, and then maybe we'll do a 70-18 uphill. I don't know. 1/8 inch is kind of thin, but let's see what we can do. All right, so I'm breaking out some of that tartan B. We're gonna go over some of this. Some of it looks pretty good, and yeah, should be good. So before I put a pass over it, I mean, that's not too bad for that little flux core machine. It does pretty good. It's not perfect. This one's a good weld. That's a really good weld. So I'm gonna leave that. I'm not gonna f with it. We got fully penetrated on that one, but this, you can see I started having issues with it. So I'll have to go over that. Thick with rust. There's nothing I can really do about it. It only gets as good as it's gonna get. And there's no good place to ground because I didn't make a good spot. I hate these old school ground. I'm sure I'll knock that off in 10 seconds. Vibrating itself apart. Oh, that's why it's missing its keeper. It's stupid. Hopefully I want no beauty shows, but this position sucks, so. All right, guys, we're all cleaned up and the job is done. No award-winning welds there, certainly not there. So the situation over here turned out to be that the bottom of the frame is basically gone, and that's probably why this all snapped in the first place. It's just rotten. So what I did was I threw 3 passes of tartan B over that because the Polaris A, well, it just kept getting porosity in it. I tried 70-18, same deal. Flux core, seen that didn't work. But otherwise it came out pretty good and it should serve the customer's purpose. Well guys, what should have been a pretty simple job turned into a show as per usual, but I should have known when I seen a tube frame that was being submerged in water. Problem with a tube frame being submerged in water is there's bound to be holes in it somewhere. It holds the water and then it rots. You know, it kind of is what it is. So we did the best we could given the circumstances, given the position. If I do come back and repair this next year, what I'm probably going to do is, my buddy has a skid steer up the road from here. I'm going to have him flip this thing over, and that's how I'm going to replace the axle. I'm not going to around crawling underneath this thing again. That was awful. And the bugs are really starting to swarm. You guys can't see them, but oh, there they are. You probably see them over there. It's just horrific. Anyway, guys, I'm Meltin Metal Anthony. If you like what you saw here today, like, subscribe, share. Go to my merch store. Buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, do what you can. If you didn't like what you saw here today, remember, go yourself.